7 years ago today, January the 19th, a day that rocked not just my family, but also this entire show. It was 7 is significant. I know that the first 3 years, and you can go find those things on YouTube. And Helmsley's also put in show notes today, all sorts of markers and things that have been made available over the years, the 7 years since William Bronner Burgess went to heaven. And the youngest of my children and one of the many Rick and Bubba children. And, we in the last 3 years, we haven't really done much of an update. Usually the 19th fell on the weekend or, we just kind of go with what I feel led to do. And with 7 being such an important number biblically, and God has used it to comfort us in such an incredible way. And some of you have heard those stories, some haven't, but it's too long to get in today. But we'll 7 is God's perfect number, a number of completion. It is the way it's supposed to be. It is done. And so the 7th year that he has been in heaven, I think is significant. And I want to do an update. I talked with even maybe Sherry coming up today, because I know a lot of you have heard from me to the point you're just sick of hearing from me. But Sherry, we talked about it, we prayed about it, and then today she said, I just don't think it's this time for me to come on the show and discuss it, but there will be a time. And part of that, I guess the biggest update is the fact that Sherry felt called to write a book. My wife's a very gifted writer, and God has given her a gift. Those of you that follow her blog on the website, you know that. And when she felt called to this, and it was, when God calls you to something, you'll be incredibly uncomfortable until you do it. And so she definitely felt like this was a call, and she started that, I guess, about the 3rd year after Bronner had gone to heaven, and it took her a little over 5 years to complete it, but it's done. And as we get into this the 7th year, that's one thing that it's been completed. And when the book comes out, that'll be the next step in the ministry that is now left in the wake of the pain and suffering that this event like this causes. And so we're in the process of looking for a publisher, and times are different now. The publishing world is not what it once was. I mean, if a publisher published 400 books in a year, now they're publishing sometimes less than 100. So it's the process has just begun on that. So I have no idea. God's timing is perfect. It'll come out whenever He's ready for it to come out. But a lot of people have asked about the book, and I talked to Sherry, and she said that she felt fine with that to go ahead and let you know the book is finished, and now it's just a matter of the publishing process, and we're still talking to some and seeing where that's going to go, and entertaining those that we think that would be a great marriage, or will God tell us to just self-publish it? We don't know. So we're still going through that. But I've taken the book and sent it around to our inner circle and to some people that are influential in the world of that have written books that wanted to get their feedback on it, and the feedback has been unbelievable. I mean, it's there's a lot of people that you would recognize their names that said, I don't know that I've ever seen a book from a first-time author that is so ready to be published. So we'll see, and that'll be. I think that's good, because I think when you remember all the stories over the last 7 years, and we've talked about them, and there's been sermons, and you can find those in the faith button there at rickandbubba.com, and Helmsley's put a lot of them in the show notes today. If it's one of those days where you want to go back, and as we're told to do in the Bible, when we have these Ebenezers, these markers, it's when you evaluate where you are. And those of you that have been through this, you know about these markers, and all of us have suffered in some way, shape, or form. And you kind of see where you are, and you see as it refines you. And I guess if I put, the ministry that's been given us that nobody would want, but it's been pretty powerful, and what it's done for our family on perspective, frankly, I'm quite thankful for. But I think you put it under the, sometimes we do know why. God is not silent on this. I think sometimes we act like He is. He's really not. He's not silent on this at all. And I know one of the things that Sherry wrote in the book, which I loved. I've read it and getting ready to read it again, where she says this is it's a story about a family. It's a story about a marriage. It's a story about a little boy, but it's really a story about God. It is His story. And it's time for us to accept Him for who He is, not who we may want Him to be. And maybe it's time for us to evaluate who we are in His presence, as opposed to continuing to try to make Him fit us. And so it's I look forward to that. But and those that have already reviewed it, it has been very impactful, and I think that's going to be great.
That point, you make that point, and you're exactly right. I read it. I was fortunate enough to be able to get a copy, and I think I read it in 2 days.
Yeah.
And you're right. That theme right there, that's the angle that you get from it. And it's outstanding. Like I say, I've read it, and I'll read it again.
It's difficult, but it's more than just that. I don't want you to think it's just another story about a family.
That's not it.
It's much deeper than that.
Yeah.
You get that, but then you get the other with it, like you're talking about there. It's powerful.
Yeah,
it really is.
And
for the non-reader like me, I couldn't put it down.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was saying, well, I got it. Next time I knew, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be here a while.
Yeah.
And it's one of those you can consume really quickly.
Yeah.
It actually goes by pretty quick because there's really not a dull moment. But so that'll come. But I think one of the things I'd asked you, I said, well, one of the things, 7, I do believe that the grueling mourning part of this, and when your little boy dies an earthly death at 2.5, that's going to take some mourning. You go mourn that a while. But I think we've come through the 7 years of really grueling mourning, and the number 8 in the Bible is a number of new beginnings, and we're on the 8 now. I mean, we're now ready to get back to work, and what's the next work that you have for us? And I sent that out to the kids today, and reminded them. It was funny because I was riding with Brooks Big Glove Burgess, and he is a unique individual. They all 5 are. And I said, so how you doing? He said, I'm really not upset. And I said, so tell me about that. He said, because I know that Bronner is where we all need to be, and we'll eventually get there. He goes, I'm not concerned about Bronner at all. Knowing that he is safe brings me great joy. And I said, so that's it for you? He goes, yeah. He said, not at all. He said, so yeah. He said, I'm not defeated by this. I'm not destroyed by this. I miss having my other brother, but he is I'm not concerned about Bronner at all. And all of a sudden he looked out the window, he goes, so take that, Satan.
Typical Brooks.
So take that. And that really is it.
Yeah.
I mean, and it gives us, purpose. And I can tell all of you that have continued to email us over the 7 years, and that this moment in time changed our family, changed me forever. And it has changed many of you, and to hear that is unbelievable. And then there's people that just, found out about it last week. There's people watching the show right now, listening on new affiliates that have never heard this. They have no idea, and now they'll search it out, and they'll see the memorial service, and they'll see the things, and they'll find out, and it just keeps going and going and going. This is God's story. It's not just Bronner's story.
Absolutely.
And so, it's a great opportunity. You go back to that day, and if I can put it in a nutshell, there was a time when a little boy stood next to a pool, and the angels of the Lord, if you read the Bible, could have absolutely kept him from falling, whatever he did in that pool. And the demons were there too, and they said, we're going to kill the boy, and these people are going to turn on you. They're going to go on. He may never go back on the air again. The show may be over. This platform will be killed. They will curse your name. They will question everything about you. And then the angels look to God, and God says, let it happen. I'll be glorified. And so when I look at what we're supposed to do, I want to stand before him and say, you know what, you were right. You trusted us with this. We can't do it. That's why you're doing it. And when you caused this to happen, you were right. And you have been glorified by it. And that's kind of who we are, and that's kind of where we are and what we do. And if I could nutshell what we've learned in the last 7 years, we're not perfect people. We make mistakes. We'll make mistakes going forward. But to have something like this that can always bring you back as perspective to what really matters and what's really important. And what I sent out to the guys today, I said, if you love the fact that you're going to be reunited with Bronner again, then love the one that made that happen, Jesus Christ. Because if he doesn't do what he does, this is over. So if you're glad, like Brooke said, I'm glad he's okay. I'm glad that reunion's coming. Thank you. Well, then live your life that shows it. Be a warrior for the hero who made sure that reunion's coming, and the only reason we have hope and joy. You do that, you're going to be successful. I don't care how the world defines you. You'll be fine. So really kind of simplifies life. It really simplifies it. And for that, I'm thankful. So, we'll see what goes next. And and what the Lord has for us. There's tons of opportunities again this year. Time to go back to work.